everyone, it's Andrew. Welcome back to my channel. Today we're going to be doing a quick video showing you how to replace the rear turn signal or blinker on a 2007 Saturn Sky. As you can tell here, my rear right blinker light, the right hand side or rightmost bulb is actually out on my car. I noticed this several weeks ago but just haven't gotten around to do it. And so what we'll do today is walk through the steps of replacing this bulb so those of you that are at home can do this as well. Okay, so first off, I did want to show you what happens with your actual blinker lights inside the car when one of the bulbs goes out. So here on the left-hand side, if I make a left-hand turn signal, my blinker is actually blinking at the normal rate and it has no issues. But what you'll notice is if I put on the right blinker, it'll blink a couple times slow, but then it does this fast blinking. And that usually indicates that one of the bulbs is out. This will not tell you whether it's the front or the rear of the car. So what I recommend doing is if you ever notice this, just put your car in park, turn on the car or turn the car so that the power's on but the engine's off, and then just check both the front and the back lights to see which blinker bulb is actually out. And so as you could tell earlier, the rear rightmost blinker light is out on my car, which we'll replace. Okay, so as far as what you'll need three separate things to replace the bulb. First off, you'll need a replacement bulb. I looked it up and it should be the 3157 bulbs. I got these from Advanced Auto for about $8 for a pack of 2. These should be the right size. We'll see once we get the light actually open. Next up, you'll need a Phillips head screwdriver. Any size really should work for this instance. And then lastly, you will need a socket wrench or a wrench for 7.5 millimeters. That'll remove one of the sockets on top of the actual harness. But that should be everything you'll need for actually taking everything apart and putting it back together. Okay, so the first step, what you're going to do is you're just going to open up the trunk. So pop the trunk and just lift this up so you can get access to where this light is. Alright, so here's where the rear tail light's going to be. It's going to be held or covered by this black plastic piece in the back of the car. This is going to be held to the back by 2 separate Phillips head screws on the top, as well as 2 hex wrenches on the bottom. So you'll need to remove the Phillips head screws with the screwdriver. And then you will have to remove the 2 hex wrenches. I did misspeak earlier. I thought it was going to be a 7.5 millimeter socket wrench you'll need. You'll actually need a 7 millimeter, and that should work here. Okay, so that should be everything holding it together. This screw is probably corroded here, so I'll just pull this out. We'll see if it pops out on its own with that. Might have to mess with this a little bit. There we go. Okay, so that's that. All right, so now that you have the 2 screws in the hex bolts out, this should allow the whole rear tail light to come off freely. And how you'll do that is basically hold the top here and then the bottom, just lift it a little bit and then twist backwards, okay? Or twist up from the bottom. That'll allow it to pop, and then you should be able to pull this whole thing directly out. And so that's what you have right here, okay? And so if you look here, there's going to be 1 wire going to the entire tail light, and then there's going to be bulb attachments here to replace the bulbs. And I'll set the camera up so that you can see this more clearly. Okay, so I took the actual tail light, which is like this, I flipped it upside down and I put it directly like this so that you can see it on camera. So the inside of the tail light's on my left hand side and then the outside is to the right. As we remember, the bulb I needed to replace was the outside one, and so what we'll do now is we'll just take this bulb out. What you'll need to do is basically turn it counterclockwise like this. That'll free the bulb, and then this is what the bulb looks like. It's exactly what we anticipated, which is the bulb, which is a 3157 bulb. We'll pull this out, which we'll pull directly out, and we'll inspect it, and it's not clearly broke. Well, yeah, it's clearly broken here, so you can see that it actually is separated in the middle there. So that's why the bulb broke. As far as replacing it, you use the replacement bulb, which is the 3157 bulb. These do come in amber and a clear color. I would just recommend going with the clear color because your tail light does have the red, so the amber might diminish the light display for that. But as far as putting it back together, basically just put the bulb directly in, make sure it clicks into place, place, okay? Now what I'll do is I'll test this while I have everything separated so that I don't run into issues as far as putting it back together and not having it work immediately. So let me just do that real quick. Okay, so as you can tell, the bulb is working, and actually inside my car it's already stopped fast blinking, so that tells you that this bulb is working effectively and there's no longer an issue with the rear. So what we'll do now is we'll just turn this off and then put everything together. All right, so putting everything together is basically the reverse of what we just did. So we'll basically pop this back into place, make sure it's aligned appropriately, turn this clockwise till it clicks into place. All right, and then what we'll do is take this, being very careful with the wire, flip it over, okay, slide it. There's going to be a peg here and a peg here on the end here. You're going to slide that into the holes on the end here. Like this, and then just make sure it clicks or pops. It's very easy, it stays flush with that, okay? And then we just walk through the steps of reversing, putting those screws back, which I'll show you on camera just to be. All right, so first off, we'll put the hex wrenches back in, or the hex bolts back in. I'll speed this up on camera. All right, and then next up, we have to put these Phillips head screws back in. Sorry, the camera fell over. And next up, we just have to put these Phillips head screws back in. Okay, and that's everything. Everything's assembled there, so that's everything as far as putting it back together. All right, so as you can tell, the rear blinker light is not working. Both lights are blinking at the same time, so we fixed this bulb, no issues. I hope this video is helpful for those of you that have to go through this process. If you have questions, comments, post them below. But remember that really all you need is a Phillips head screwdriver, a 7mm socket wrench or wrench set, and then the actual bulb, which is the 3157 bulb. I'll leave a link below if you have to buy that online. If you have questions, I'll post them below. Hopefully this video was helpful. Have a great day, and if you're interested in subscribing to my channel, subscribe as well.